Welcome in, Monday edition, Blue Sky Live here with you this morning. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio. The weekend that was, in a way. We will, not far away, actually, this week, getting into football more as a primary thing as the season inches closer, but it's still dead of summer, as we talked about last week. Not to give the summer away. It's kind of where we are a little bit. So we'll talk about things that are going on with the weekend, which a sneaky good sports weekend, frankly. A lot of stuff going on. Nothing that just was going to captivate you like crazy, but a lot of pretty interesting stuff over the course of the weekend. So we'll hit some of that. Ole Miss has a pitching coach. We'll discuss that a little bit. I've got a column up at rebelgrove.com regarding that hire and now what comes next as it pertains to that and all that kind of jazz there coming up here on today's show. The blue skies throughout Mississippi, up and down I-55 throughout North Mississippi as well. You can get lunch specials, $5.69, couple sides of bread, any size of fountain drink. You get Sweet Daddy's locations at a ton of different spots over the course of Mississippi. No matter where you are, there is a Blue Sky close by. Ribs, pulled pork, side items, desserts, and more catering options. A lot of stuff going on there with Blue Sky. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for our buddy Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're interested in. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, I should say. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You're going to get your quote, and then the rest of it is up to you. You can use that quote. You can shop it around. Or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. That's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Corey and the people there, they want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove to you what that means when you make the call, 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic hotline. The Campbell Clinic is in Oxford now, 2608 South Lamar Boulevard, Suite 102. Just across the street from the cottages at Hooper Hollow, the Campbell Clinic provides full-service orthopedic care. Everything from sports medicine to foot and ankle surgery to spine and total joint care, pediatric orthopedics, physical therapy, and more. To book an appointment, go to campbellclinicoxford.com or call 901-759-3111. Walk-ins always welcome at the Campbell Clinic, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah, they're asking for a Young Thug update. I do not have one. I see that the Washington Post does have an explainer. Their headline 3 days ago: "The chaos unfolding at Young Thug's trial explained." So there is that. Another says that Young Thug's lawyer Brian Steele. The fact that I know his name now is amazing. He would not and did not spend Father's Day in jail. That was not going to be part of his sanctions from being held in contempt there.
Nor should he have.
Of course. So, yeah, hope all of you had a good and safe Father's Day. Made the phone calls, talked to the men in your life, whether it be a father or just another person that's a father-like figure for you. You've always got those as well. So I hope it was a good day, good weekend there. It was a little hot, but got pretty good weather to take advantage of whatever you were doing. Yeah, I felt like even on Saturday, it was almost like too hot for pool, even like in a way. It was kind of like, hey, I'm out.
Yeah, it was too hot for pool. We were talking about the pool. We walked outside and went, nah. So we ended up binging most of season 3 of Ted Lasso.
Oh, yes, sir. Almost done.
We're almost done down to the final episode.
What's been the overall thought for a new watcher?
I have a different take than I did on season 3. I was very critical of the first part of season 3 the first time through, and the second time through, I didn't find it as bothersome. There's still one thing that was bothersome for me, because I don't think not because of not political reasons. It doesn't strike me as particularly believable.
Okay,
and it felt forced.
But your frustration was more minimized on a second watch.
Yeah, I enjoyed it more the second time.
Okay.
Yeah, they did some really good things that when you watch it a second time, you're like, oh, that's why that was there.
So,
I mean, I don't want to do like spoilers, but
we're still a little bit in the lens of spoilers. I'll give you a touch of a break, but we're nearing the no break.
I'll just say this: quick spoiler alert. Give it 10 seconds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What they did with Keely's character at Spot in the Spot in season 3 stretches the bounds of credulity in my mind. and I don't know why they did it.
Oh, yeah. It's fair.
I don't understand it.
It was a sitcom type ploy on something that wasn't a sitcom. Because it was always supposed to be smarter than a sitcom, even though it was funny. Those aren't the same thing.
Right.
Did you find yourself more or less grading of season 1 and 2 on the rewatch?
Thought it was excellent.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't go, oh, it was even better than I thought, or less. So
season 1 was terrific.
I mean, season 1 is one of the better seasons of television there is.
Yeah.
For that genre.
It was phenomenal. I thought season 2 was really good. They did a really good job with multiple characters. They did a better job in season 3 than I thought they did.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first time through, what happened with Keeley threw me off so much that it took me a while to go, what are we doing?
You lost kind of the plot for a minute because of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And this time I knew that was coming, and so it didn't phase me as much. I still don't understand why it got thrown in there.
Kyle, thanks for the super chats. Says happy Father's Day. Just want to say thank you for y'all doing the podcast, giving out great advice. Also, thank you for the message board. I don't know if the advice is always great, but hey, we're here. Whatever you need, we got. Whether it is the correct answer or not, you'll get an answer. I'll tell you something. So
that's true.
That's kind of where it's sitting here on this morning. It's a good day to be. Who I think his name's going to be Bill Gross. He did you see this? He sold what is believed to be or is the most expensive stamp in the world over the weekend. Apparently, he has maybe the best stamp collection ever for whatever that's worth. But a 1868 Z Grill stamp, 1 cent U.S. postal stamp, depicting a picture of Ben Franklin is included in it. Sold for $4.4 million in the past few days. $4.4 million for a stamp.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, a Z Grill 1868. It might be the only one in availability, I believe, is the way. I think there were 2 of them a couple decades ago, and I think it might have gone down to 1 now at this point.
I answered this in the stream, but I'll answer it here too. Camreb, because I think this is a common thing. Camreb35 says, would my non-sports fan wife enjoy Ted Lasso? The answer is yes.
Yeah, it's not a sports show.
I turned my daughter on Campbell, who is, to say not a sports fan would be an understatement. Not even a little bit of a sports fan. Campbell has no idea anything that's going on in the sports world, doesn't care.
Yeah.
Will probably never care. And she loved Ted Lasso.
It's a plot device, not the arc of the show.
It's just a vehicle.
Yes.
And then Laura was convinced that she would not like it because it was soccer. And we see a lot of soccer in our house. And I was like, no, it's not soccer. No. Soccer's just...
It's just there.
Just there to kind of tie everything together. And I think she has liked it more than any show she's ever watched.
Really?
Yeah.
That strong.
Yeah. And she does, and Laura watches no sports at all. None. Zero. Like none. And so I think Caroline's about to start watching it, and Caroline might watch less sports than the other 2.
We're moving on. I'm trying not. Yeah, I'm also not trying to not spoil. I didn't love what they did with Ted's character at the very end. It actually went beyond believability to me.
Yeah, I haven't watched. I'm curious to see what I think the second time through watching the end.
It felt cop out to me. Like I said, the end. I thought the end in general. Now, look, I like bow ties on things. I have no problem with just giving us what we want, tying it up, and let's not do the, hey, we're going to try to win this critical award here with the ending. But
we probably need to have a Ted Lasso episode of our show where we tell people, hey, up front, if you haven't watched it and you plan to watch it, this is not the show for you.
No, we need to do it. The summer's a good time to do it.
Because I have some real thoughts about what they did with Ted.
I'm actually doing one of those shows about How I Met Your Mother this week because it's the 10th anniversary of the finale of How I Met Your Mother. Going to knock that out. So, yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Yeah, I get it. I get it's June 2024. Spoilers aren't a thing, but there are people who, for whatever reason, have not watched certain shows. So I do want to give warnings on that at this point.
Your mom says, Neal, do you think their lack of love for sports is due to the industry you're in? In part. I mean, I've talked about this before. People are like, why didn't, it's when you do what I did, especially back when they were little and I was working in Mobile and I was gone 5 days a week covering sports. The last thing we were really going to do in our free time was go to sports. And I worked every weekend. So it wasn't like we were going to take them to a college football game. My family as a whole, the 5 of us, have been to one college football game together. One.
I haven't sat in the stands at a college football game since 2004.
Yeah, I have twice.
Okay. I've done some baseball games with friends and things, done basketball games. I haven't done a football game since 2004.
And I cover basketball games, so it's not like we go together. No, I just don't. I don't know. I'm one of these people. There are people in our field. I'm not criticizing them. They probably are better at this than I am. There are people in our field that sports is literally their lives. It's all they think about. It's all they care about. They watch it relentlessly. And I've just never really been that person. And so when I come home from let's say we joke about the whole 11 a.m. kickoff thing. The truth is Saturday's kind of shot. I don't really care. I'm not coming home from a college football game, whether I get home at 6 or I get home at 10 and turning it on all the TVs. It might get turned on. It might end up being background, but that's just kind of not what we do. And it's not, the girls weren't into it. And Carson, even though he's a guy and he's very much a sports fan, he's not into college sports.
Mm-hmm.
He's frankly into professional soccer and the NBA. That's it. Baseball has lost him.
They have, haven't they?
They've lost
But
him.
look, there's only so much emotional capacity.
I've said that 1,000 times.
You can do it across multiple college sports because you're still cheering for the same entity.
Yep.
But professional-wise, it's you don't have the exact same fervor for every sport that you're a fan of. It's just not possible.
No.
There's going to be 1 or 2 teams in your fandom that you go, oh, if that happens, I'm tears, I'm whatever, it is my life.
Sure.
Can't be 4.
I mean, my Cubs fandom is way down.
If you live in Chicago, it's not Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, and Bears.
No, you pick 1 or 2.
You might follow them all.
Yeah. That's kind of where I am with the Cubs right now. I follow the Cubs, but I'm not really watching. Like, they played the Cardinals this weekend, a 3-game set.
Mm-hmm.
I watched 2 innings.
Did you really?
Because I was on the Peloton and I needed something to I was trying to do like another 15 minutes. And so I turned on the first couple innings of their Sunday game.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
Then I left it and didn't go back. And I saw where the Cardinals won. And there was a time not too long ago where a 2-1 Cardinals win would have kind of pissed me off. And I was like, whatever. It just doesn't really matter.
Well, like Triple Mass, it's because the Cubs suck. But no, I mean, you were dedicated even in the back. You would start every year. We've done this a long time. You'd start every year going, I'm not getting the package. I'm not doing whatever. And even when they were bad, about June, hey, I listen to the game on the radio and following and doing it. And
if anything, the years that they sucked, they were more lovable than the years that they won. If you're being truthful. I cheered for them since I was a little boy. They've sucked most years. That's not it. It's just, I don't know, it's weird. I'm not alone. Baseball's become really regional. It's just a more difficult sport to follow, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it comes back at some point. I kind of doubt it.
A lot of Omaha talk on the stream. It has been a really good College World Series. You could probably get to that here in a little while on the show, but it's been entertaining. The first couple of days, all I think last inning wins by the home team. The first 2 days, I think the 4 first games were.
I did see the Tennessee win over the first one,
Florida State.
That was a crazy game.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a little bit. I guess a few minutes here. Read my commentary. It's technically not a column because a column is on schedule, but whatever. Commentary at rebelgrove.com. Ole Miss hires Joel Mangrum. I'll be honest. I was a little frustrated with myself on this one because the only name that I had for sure was Dave Anderson. And Mangrum, when you look at it in hindsight, was one that if you were doing the hot board, which you weren't doing for this position because I don't like just throwing names out and seeing what sticks. But it was one that would have been on there because you start noticing the ties and some of the things and the way it fits. Ole Miss was always going to hire someone at the pro level. I think the search went about a week longer than it should have because they probably shot too high. You can make that either a criticism or not a criticism on however you want to do it. You try to get your guys, see what happens, but time is of the essence in some ways with this. And it's a big boy job and a big boy organization. The Cleveland Guardians are one of the best teams in baseball at developing pitchers. They're excellent, have been excellent for more than a decade at this point.
Very, very good. One of the better organizations in baseball.
He has spent 4 years as the director, essentially, of minor league pitching, the minor league pitching coordinator. He's been with them for 6 years. He's a Mississippi native. He played at Northwest Rankin, Mississippi College, I think Hines Community College, if I recall that correctly. He has college experience at New Mexico State, Austin Peay. Has some professional, like some MLB pitchers that he groomed at the college level. He was hired by ULM, but he never actually coached at ULM. It's not a big deal. It doesn't matter. But I didn't necessarily like how that was written in the press release because it confused people. But because he was hired and then immediately hired by Cleveland prior to ever coaching there but there's a pretty strong connection there. Neal, sorry, why do I keep calling him Neal? Michael Federico, the head coach at ULM. He hired Mangrum at ULM, and Federico's son is an incoming player for Ole Miss this fall. That is signed with Ole Miss that is going to be here. So there's several different connections to him. And look, it fits exactly what they were trying to do. I think that's important to realize here. We talked about this a little bit last week, but just the 15-second rehash is that Ole Miss, from a tangible, pragmatic, the way it was working, they were not being good enough with 2024 development of pitchers, period. With a bullet, stop. That's it. They also were losing in reputation around college baseball, pro baseball, when it comes to using the technology correctly, to doing all these things. And he's going to fix that. Doug Nikhazy raved about him, talked about how he really, really is in tune with what pitches work, even in what counts to produce weak contact, like some really intricate things that just simply do not get explained with the system, the way it was set up in Ole Miss's coaching staff. It is not a possibility at that point. It was not happening, and you're going to see really big improvement, I think, in those ways. I mean, when you talk about strictly on-field development, what he can do with the next 6 months, I'm pretty damn fascinated with like how he goes about trying to, quote, I'm using hair quotes, fix JT Quinn. What comes of great Saunier? I was talking to a scout a few weeks ago who said Saunier is just a guy right now because it's too clean and it gives too much of a look to the batter, that the batter sees the whole thing out of his hand and it doesn't work. Do you change that? What can you do? Because, I mean, obviously, analytically, there's stuff there with Saunier that really plays. So, I think there's some ingredients to make that really, really, really successful and to make this a better baseball team. There's no doubt about that. Where I'm having a little bit of a, but here is a couple different things. A couple people keep asking me, hey, he's from Mississippi. That's huge for recruiting, right? And I'm like, maybe. I'm not saying he will or will not be able to recruit. It just doesn't matter right now. Outside of portal guys and who's going to help you right now, next season is such a make or break that's just back burner for me. If they do better and they all save gigs, and look, that would be great. If that all happens, then you start talking about, okay, long term, what does this look like? But right now, that's not the story. I like that. That's not where this is for me in any way. Yeah, this is about who they can get out of the portal and how do they maximize them on the roster for next season, right? Period. That is all that matters to me in this right now.
That was my only thought on the whole thing. I don't know anything about it, but if you follow a major league team, and I guess I do, you read a lot about pitching development. And at the professional level, it's very patient. You're not rushing pitching development with young guys.
Yeah, sure.
And these are young guys. There's not a lot of 19, 20, and 21-year-old pitchers in the major leagues. And so guys that age, they put them in the lab and they see some things and they take their time and they incorporate it, and it's a process. And I don't know that Ole Miss has time for that process. No. So you're still back to where you were. Yeah. Will he fix some things? Of course. Yes. Ole Miss had gotten way behind on that.
And probably fix a lot of things even in calling pitches and game
That's kind of what I meant.
things.
That's kind of what I meant. He'll probably call a better game.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you'll be able to see that in terms of fruition next season. And so it really kind of comes back to the same, okay.
Yeah.
But
they also have to get better everywhere. They're 14th defensively, and they were like 10th or 12th in offense. I forget the number off the top of my head. Maybe worse than that.
I think it was worse than that. Yeah. I think it was 13th.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. They weren't good offensively. They weren't good in any facet. In any facet. And I mean, as much as I despise the NIL conversations, because I don't even like the word anymore. It's a dumb word. I listened to this interview with Ross Bjork with Learfield stuff, and they're talking about how do you find out what your players' interests are. I'm like, shut up. You're not doing this. Just a damn salary at Ohio State. Call it. You're not sitting down Quinshon, and I'm thinking on Quinshon. I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not. But they're not sitting down with Quinshon. Tell me about what inspires you. Give me a effing break. Here's some money. Go run. And it's the same thing in baseball. Guys are in the portal now. It's even more so in baseball. Just tell me what you'll give me. I'm not coming to take a visit and to see if I'm inspired by the town. None of that. Anywhere. Just what are you going to give me? What's my role? And there's still time because there's still time in the portal, but Ole Miss doesn't seem to have a hell of a lot of traction right now in the baseball portal. Maybe that changes. It doesn't, because it doesn't matter whether you get the guy early or you get him late. It's just who do you get? But I do wonder if this is.
It's a great hire if you had 2 years.
Yeah. It's kind of what I want. And then the other part that I kind of wonder is if you were going to hire someone who was that obvious, what took so long?
Because I think he's making the 200s. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know that. That is my guess. I would assume a 2-year contract. And look, it's a no-brainer for Mangrum. He can come, and if he enjoys it and wants to be in the college game, then awesome. Maybe he turns it into a college head coach and makes big money. And if he doesn't work, he can go back and work for major league teams immediately whatever. Because, like, the only thing that I found a little strange on that is that, Mickey Callaway had that exact job.
Yeah.
That was Mickey's job, and he parlayed that into Indians at the time pitching coach.
Right.
And then the New York Mets manager, frankly, after that. Like, you're talking about real gigs quickly there.
Sure.
So it changes his path a little bit, but it's a no-win there. I mean, a no-lose there when it comes to him. No, I don't think Mike is getting 2 years if it doesn't go well next year. I think he will be fired at the end of next season if there is not considerable improvement. There is no number on it, though, and we'll come back after break.
It's a number where it's not making the NCAA tournament. Probably has to make the tournament.
At least. I think that's a minimum requirement that could still get you depending on the situation.
Right. But I'm saying if he doesn't make the tournament, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I agree with you. So we'll come back. Let's finish this in a second. First, G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer medicine. Free prescriptions same day each month. Take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery, and you have everything you need when you need it with G&M. They also make it easy to transfer your medications. You can do that very, very easily. You make one phone call. They take care of the rest. So whether that's on the Square in Holly Springs or G&M in Oxford on South Lamar, that's 662-236-2222.
I'll have a 10 Weekend Thoughts up a little later today. It's brought to you by Andrew Seago, Seago Wealth Management. Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with the personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Seago, Seago Wealth Management, specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan, whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere. Schedule a free discovery meeting. See what he can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com. We're brought to you by Grenada Home Center. They've got paint by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paints, and Farrell Calhoun. Flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, whether you're looking for granite, quartz, or anything else. And they've got window treatments from plantation shutters to whatever else suits your fancy. It's Grenada Home Center. 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada. Call them at 662-226-3127. You've got until July the 7th to register your young person for the start of Oxford Park Commission fall sports. You can sign them up for youth flag football, baseball, softball, volleyball, and soccer. Your children will be able to play all sports thanks to their new format that will allow all sports to play concurrently, with various sports playing on different nights of the week. Just create an OPC website account at oxfordparkcommission.com or contact OPC Community Relations Director John Davis at oxfordparkcommission.com for additional information. We're also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, Batesville, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429. And if you're starting to get your gear ready for the college football season, I highly suggest the College Corner. 2 locations in the Jackson area, one here in Oxford, in the Oxford Commons, right off of Sisk Avenue. And you can also get your gear online as well, collegecornerstore.com. And we're brought to you by Argent Wealth. It's formerly Pinnacle Wealth, Argent Wealth based in Ridgeland, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Argent, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Argent will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. It's myargentwealth.com.
Yeah, I've been around this long enough to not judge, frankly, anything before it's over, but especially a portal class. The portal is not even closed yet.
Right.
There are still weeks remaining in the portal being open. So it's premature to have 100% complete teeth gnashing and everything else. It just isn't. I mean, I answered a lot of questions on the message board, but I was very careful when it comes to that. But I do think it is a very valid thought that of the people in the portal, Ole Miss didn't do a ton of pre-portaling and have people lined up. That appears to be obvious from my point of view at this moment. They had 2 visitors over the week that I'm aware of. Michael Ross, who's the brother of Jackson Ross, a transfer from Samford, had a really good season. He came back from Tommy John in less than a year. They think he could get better next year just because of that, some of those things. And then a pretty talented contact guy to TCU named Logan Maxwell. Both those guys were in. And then it was a blow to Ole Miss that they didn't even get Daniel Jackson, the catcher from Wofford, to campus prior to him committing. He ended up committing to Georgia after a visit to Athens. And the catcher class is not very good right now. Ole Miss has to have one. I thought that was a considerable blow on a number of fronts when that happened. Now, look, maybe some sterling D1 catcher gets in the portal tomorrow and he goes to Ole Miss the next day. Again, too early to tell.
Right.
But in the vacuum of the moment and what the options were, losing Jackson was a big deal. And I thought that was that was kind of rough. There was a little bit of an in there, a little bit for Ole Miss too. It just that had a weird smell to me when it went down. So no, I think that those are valid things as you're trying to analyze where they are right now. They had essentially held off on pitchers until they had a pitching coach,
right,
because you don't know who's coaching. You're not going to get, especially guys who are coming in for 1 year before a draft or anything along those lines, and make that happen. It just kind of is what it is. So we'll see. I expect some news this week, one way or the other, on the guys that visited, probably in the next 24 to 48 hours, something like that. And then we'll start to kind of hash out what has come into the portal. As teams are eliminated from the College World Series, their players will start getting in the portal. There'll be a little more quantity from that standpoint, and then we'll see where it is. A lot of talk in the thread about Mingione at Kentucky, and I'll sound like Danny Nutt a little bit, but I'm telling the truth. Somebody sent me a post, and I give On3 credit. It was just a subscriber, but it came from On3 yesterday because they wanted my opinion on it. And he has a really old baseball team in a way that I didn't even realize because I didn't focus on Kentucky in that way. his career is interesting because he gets hired at Kentucky. He had never been a head coach before. He was really good in year one, and then they kind of sucked for like 4 or 5 years. They were bad. Had under 500 records in the SEC. Last season, he wins a regional. I think they beat Indiana in the regional final. They lose in Baton Rouge against the eventual national champions in a super regional. And then now they're in the College World Series. They knocked off NC State in round one. They play today against Texas A&M in a winner's bracket game to get to 2-0. But his team, when you look at ages, again, according to this post, which was very well done, so I'm assuming it's correct. If I'm not, then tell me and we'll shut up. They don't play a freshman or sophomore. Not one. They have multiple guys on their team. They're 23 and 24 years old. Mm-hmm. The post made the point that Elko was really old on Ole Miss's team, and he would be like the 4th or 5th oldest guy on this Kentucky team as far as playing. With what I know about NIL and what I know about trying to replace that every season, I would need another year of sample out of Mingione before I took that plunge and hired him, because I wonder a little bit if this was just simply building to a group and then you don't really know what's coming after that. Like that, I looked at those ages and went, I just don't know if you can replicate that year over year in Lexington, but in most places, frankly. It sort of made me turn, and it's not minimizing the job he's done. He's done one hell of a job. They have a great culture. They have a great way they play baseball. They are fun. I like their team. I like their team a ton. I just don't know what the consistency will be with them once they have to replace these guys, and their ability to keep freshmen and sophomores happy to try to do that kind of thing. I don't know. It's a good question, but it at least gave me a bit of a stop sign.
We have a login to 64 Analytics, correct?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, I need to find it.
Okay. What do we want to look at?
Well, because I think Kentucky's done really well in the portal so far.
Okay.
Like one of the better teams.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to find. I know that he sent me a.
We have the login.
He sent both of us a login.
Yeah. Okay.
The guy who started that, whose name is escaping me right now, really good dude.
You want to look at Kentucky?
Yeah, I was looking Kentucky up. I think they've done really well in the pre-portal, if you will.
The pre-portal?
Well, I mean, they're still playing.
I'm playing.
But yeah, I think they've had some success.
Okay.
And I don't know whether that is because a lot of money's freeing up. I don't know if that's because they suddenly have new money in it. I don't know. I don't know.
What's your guess?
I mean, they have a lot of new interest. They had big crowds all year. They kind of were breaking their own attendance record game after game. People were getting excited about it. People liked it. He did a really good job of kind of marketing and doing a lot of the stuff that you have to do when you're first having success. But I don't know. I don't know whether it's, some football money was spilled over there or whatever. I mean, I do think at all of these schools, it's why I'm cynical of the approach in any sport of we'll just throw more money at it. I think there has to be more to it than that if you're going to have sustained success. And he hasn't had sustained success yet. He's had one great year.
So they are the number 1 ranked portal class right now per 64 Analytics. Number of portal players that have left their team or they're losing is 4, and they have brought in 9 to date. The number of portal players the team has committed, that's 9 for Kentucky. The number of 250 players that they are bringing in, 6. So again, top 250 portal players out there. I don't have an understanding of what that would look like. I don't know. And they're not losing any.
Yeah, we could get this guy on and dive into it.
Yeah.
If anybody wanted to, it's probably a smaller audience that would want us to dive into all the different SEC portal classes.
But I think at the end, especially, you go, hey, now what does this tell you?
What do you get from it?
And look,
LSU's having a lot of success.
And this is my point to all this about pre-portaling and getting guys and making this thing happen. This is the world you're in. This is your neighborhood. This is who you play. Because it's a complicated thing, even from the standpoint of trying to rate jobs and tell you who's good and who's not and how Ole Miss sits in the SEC. Is that Ole Miss, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt? I kind of have them in a pile right now. they're all top 15 national jobs. They don't play the nation. They play the SEC.
Yeah.
You've got to win so many against the SEC for the rest to matter.
Yeah.
And you're in a neighborhood with the other how many ever jobs are ahead of you.
I mean, this is somewhat hyperbolic, but if you're the 17th best class, but it's the 12th in the SEC, you're still in trouble.
Yeah.
Because that's who you play.
You have very little margin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just don't have margin. I mean, the league's very, very good. And
the top 8 portal classes to date: Kentucky, Georgia, Duke, Wake Forest, Miami, LSU, Kansas, Auburn.
Yeah. I've heard Auburn has a really good class coming in.
Auburn has 3 top 50 portal incoming so far.
And LSU kind of can get who they want for the most part.
Now, Auburn lost a stud, too. They've had some outgoing stuff.
Sure.
That's where they are.
Yeah.
But, yes, that's currently where they're what's going on. 3. Arkansas's picked up 3 so far. The only teams that have not gotten a player from the portal yet are Ole Miss, Missouri, and Tennessee, I think.
Yeah.
I believe that is correct.
That's
up and down.
It's a nuanced thing. It's a conversation that for it to be done accurately, it has to be nuanced. But because it's still very early and you could still fix it and you could look silly down the road. But
and look, here's the truth.
I think it's safe to feel like it's safe to maybe hypothesize that they're behind.
And you can like it or not, you got to be cutthroat as hell right now. There are no feelings.
Right.
It just doesn't exist. Pre-portaling, tampering, bringing people in, letting them go. It's the world you're in.
And I do think that's – so it's 2 things here. I do think with some older coaches, people who have been doing it a certain way for a long time, this doesn't feel right. And then I think with there are some coaches who look at this and go, hey, you know what? I do think there's going to be a self-correction to this.
Players that have come 2 teams in the portal so far: Kentucky 9, Georgia 10, LSU 5, Auburn 5, Vanderbilt 4, Alabama 3, Florida 3, Arkansas 3, Texas A&M 2, State 2, Carolina 2, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Missouri 0. And there's been a lot of shedding. I mean, Ole Miss has had 7 get in the portal. Missouri's had 12. Just a way of life. State's had 7. I mean, but now the only teams that have lost good players to the portal, LSU. They've had 4 players leave that are top 250 kids out. And only 5 in. So it's kind of whatever on LSU at this point. Auburn has lost a top 250. Alabama's lost a top 250. And then Tennessee and Missouri have each lost 1 top 250 to date. So that's what 64 analytics.
Who's the Missouri kid that left? I saw his name somewhere.
I don't know. Okay. I didn't see it. Yeah. Beats me. So
at first I tried to sort of keep up with it, and then it got kind of overwhelming. So many names that you just get to where you're like, whatever.
So look, they need to get busy. There's no doubt. Yeah, Arkansas was 3. 3 in, nobody out of the top 250 out. Yeah, no longer is that the case where if a kid's committed, he's off limits.
No.
That world has shifted.
I think that's a difficult adjustment for some people.
It's also difficult from a staffing. It's just freaking hard to keep up with everybody.
Yeah.
Well, football has so many coaches.
Yeah.
Baseball doesn't have enough coaches for that. It's like nuclear weapons. Forever, it's why that rule was in place. Is you went, hey, we only have 3 coaches here. If we keep doing this to each other, we're never going to stop.
Yeah.
So can we just have some quality of life? And for the most part, everybody went, yeah, I agree.
And frankly, I thought that was a fair argument back in the day.
Mm-hmm. No longer the case.
It's just kind of, I don't know.
I get it.
I mean, the lead to my 10 weekend thoughts is the sentence, I was wrong. I'll just say that. The Kansas State basketball thing on, was it Friday?
Kid got $2
million. That blew me away.
It's a decent player.
Yeah, he's good. A good player. He was the 2nd or 3rd best player on a good Illinois team. Really good team.
Yeah.
By the way, the girl that accused Terrence Shannon Jr. of rape should be imprisoned. There was and the prosecutor in that case, my God, man. How you could do that to a young person with no evidence at all is beyond me. None. Anyway, I mean, he's a good player. Good player. 6'10", has some skills. If you told me he's on an NBA roster one day, I'd go, okay, maybe. But we're not talking about, this isn't the guy that walks, this isn't Paul Skeens, right? Where, okay, he walks in the door and your program is different. This isn't a lottery pick walking into your program. $2 million. And I just look at that and go, wow. Wow. Maybe I'm wrong. I always thought there would be sanity, logic would prevail. But I don't think I'm right. And so if it just becomes who can put together the biggest pile of cash, I'm wrong. I'm
Or you're just not right yet.
And maybe it's that. But
still new.
It's new.
You're waiting on every team to lose.
I look at it like, hey, who cares? If you're going to read 10 thoughts, you're going to read 10 thoughts. Like if the Celtics win a championship tonight, or if the Mavericks come back and win a championship, but let's go with the Celtics because they have a chance to do it tonight at home. If you're a Celtics fan, this is more than your laundry winning the title.
It's your dudes.
They drafted Jason Tatum out of Duke in 2017. It was been building around Jason Tatum for 8 years.
Number 3 pick, I think.
Jaylen Brown's been a Celtic for more than a minute. Al Horford's been a Celtic for a long time. A lot of their bench guys are homegrown guys. If they win a title tonight, if they raise the trophy tonight at TD Gardens or whatever it's called, I think that's what it's called, TD Garden.
That's right.
If they raise a trophy tonight, when Adam Silver hands them a trophy, if you're a Celtics fan, this is meaningful. Those are your guys. They lost together. People questioned him publicly. Is Jaylen Brown good enough? Is he good enough to be the guy? Is Jason Tatum good enough? Because as soon as he loses, because tonight if the Mavericks lose, it'll be, maybe Luka's not good enough. Maybe he's not. Hot take. You've been through all that with the Celtics. If you're Kansas State and this dude comes in and he takes you to the round of 32 and then he leaves, well, that was fun. I guess. Or maybe not. Maybe you go, it was worth every penny of $2 million for his 16 points a game. I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm rationally trying to figure out why am I so wrong on this? But because that kid, the rumor, and I wrote this the other day on the message board, the rumor was both Louisville and Arkansas offered him 1.2. And he said no. So Louisville canceled their visit. I think he visited Arkansas. I'm not sure. But then Arkansas, when they realized they weren't going to get him, they went back in on Trevin Brazile and got him. And so everyone around the industry of it was like, this cat's going to lose a bunch of money. No. He made another $800,000 at Kansas State.
He knew the market. Mark here, Dalton Connect was worth every penny.
Okay.
And again, it's not your penny. So sure, I'll take the good player. Why not? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Above that, somebody goes, if Jackson Dart wins the title, it'd be meaningful. Jackson Dart's homegrown.
Yeah, but Jackson Dart's 3 years, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Ole Miss.
He's going to end up playing just more games than Bo Wallace.
I've had this conversation with some people. People do the portal thing with Ole Miss. And yes, Ole Miss is heavy portal. But Ole Miss football specifically, they've gotten guys out of the portal that stayed multiple years. Jackson Dart has now started 25 games in an Ole Miss uniform.
Mm-hmm. And got more coming.
So let's say he starts another 13. Just throw a number out. I'm not trying to be. Just throw a number out.
Yeah.
38 games. How many games did Eli Manning start at Ole Miss?
Probably not 38.
I mean, so that's my point.
Or maybe that on the number.
Jackson Dart, Jared Ivey, those cats. Those are not the best
11,
examples.
13, 37.
Connect's the better. Yeah. But now Dalton Connect was SEC Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Tennessee didn't win a title. Had a hell of a run. I give you that. Sure.
the fan who's not paying just wants the good player. The question is going to be the people paying, do they get tired of it? And then the money goes down, and that's where it regulates.
Sure.
That's the question.
Because when you hit up the same people, hey, we need more for baseball. We need more for basketball. We need more for football. Oh, by the way, we also have this thing on campus called academics that we'd like to grow as well. How does that work? I don't know.
There's been a lot of activity in, this is true, women's tennis teams poaching players with NIL. Women's tennis.
And this is where maybe I, as a person, don't relate because I don't have that type of
Because someone on the board this morning goes, hey, if you're spending this on baseball, let everybody else win. Well, okay, they will because everybody's paying it. I mean, okay, but
yeah.
I agree with you, but
sure.
Okay, understand what that means then.
Yeah.
No, it's where the Ole Miss fan, you guys probably have whiplash a little bit because you sort of have, as of today, June 17th at 8:58 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You have kind of the three levels or ways your teams are handling the portal. You got this football team that's doing it as better than anybody, or at least as creatively as anybody.
100%.
Basketball's been sort of in the middle and fine, and then baseball's struggling with it right now. You've kind of got every layer of your fan base as far as how your coaches are handling the portal in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Football, you think you've got a work in progress. It's really booming. Basketball is very much okay, on paper it's all right. We'll wait and see. It's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know. And then baseball needs to get busy. What?
I know. It's the part that I struggle with is, so I live in a house where if I told my wife, if I said, hey, I'm giving $1,000 a month to the fill in the blank collective, I think it would change the way she felt about me. I honestly think she would love me less. I think she would be so resentful of that she would literally love me less. Maybe to the point of like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, look,
like $1,000, and listen, they're asking for more than that from a lot of people.
Well, it's like Epic Space Orange. It says two things. It says there's a level of wealth out there where people can bankroll the whole team and not care at all. Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about the guy who makes a sacrifice to do it.
But even that guy, right? Aren't there people in that guy's life that's like, wait a minute?
Well, he fills back up, and this is kind of a good comparison. He goes, these people give millions to local political campaigns. Why not college football? The political donor, it's actually probably a pretty good. It's probably I get it has holes, but probably not a bad comp overall.
Most of the people, though, that give to political campaigns like that, there's an ulterior motive, right? I mean, there's something for their business, they're trying to, whatever.
Happiness in my number one hobby and recreational activity.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's the part where I'm not, let me be clear. I'm not criticizing. I'm explaining that for me, there's a disconnect. And I have a hard time relating to it.
If Neal gives $1,000 a month to the ULM collective, I bet he's pretty high up on the top.
I'd be really high up.
He gets some perks.
But if I did that, though, my wife would say, so let me get this straight. We're talking about maybe taking the kids on one last big family vacation next year. And we are.
Yeah.
Been talking to John Edwards about it.
Yeah.
And she's putting money back. We're putting money back just in case we decide to do it. If she found out that I was taking that kind of money to essentially, and listen, people won't like this word, but this word's true, okay? You're buying mercenaries. You're not buying players who are going to have a lifelong love for they're not.
Look, it's what I said from the start is I think as the money has grown to the level that it's grown is actually the problem, because Adam makes a good point here. Because the crazy thing is if I donated $1,000 a month, it wouldn't make a dent, and that would be a huge sacrifice for me. I think that's actually the point. That is the point. If you're doing, and moving on after this, if you're doing the true NIL, $1,000 a month might actually get a dude. I feel like I had a hand in that.
Sure.
You've bought like 1/14 of a cornerback is what you've done.
And it's not even NIL.
Yeah, so right? You're like, it literally doesn't matter, even though it does matter. Like there's no tangible. Wow, I've got that.
Like we wouldn't do this because it would cross too many lines. Although there are people in our field that are doing it, and I don't understand how you do it ethically. I really don't. It's a conundrum to me. But regardless, let's say MPW Digital gave $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month to a player so that player would come on our shows and endorse and whatever.
Sure.
The truth is that amount of money wouldn't even get their attention.
No, you would have a very hard time getting them to do any kind of appearance for that amount of money.
Just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say quit calling it NIL, call it salary. That's what it is. You're
not paying market rate.
Yeah, you're giving them money to come play football or basketball or baseball or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. But again, I'm not being critical of it. I'm just explaining, and I've had to explain this to people who they want me to come on their show or whatever, and I've started turning people down because I'm the wrong person for you to get. I'm so stunned by what's happened because I really thought, I was naive, man. I really thought when this first started, it was going to be kind of NIL, local car dealer.
I thought true NIL with some under the table around it.
Sure.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But I never would have imagined Kansas State would pay a kid $2 million to play one basketball season.
No, I wouldn't.
And if you did, I would have been like, oh, he's the next Kobe Bryant.
It's Bronny. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not. It's just a good player.
Yeah. Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. 8 different flavors available for you. Everything from their most recent offering. That's the soy ginger, great with hibachi, different proteins, vegetables, rice, and more. Also, their best sellers. You got their New Orleans style barbecue, the signature. It's a great all-purpose option there. Great for lunches, high-protein snacks, dinners. Kids got stuff going on. Let them help. They deliver directly to your door. Freezer to plate in fewer than 10 minutes. And it is a restaurant-quality shrimp from the New Orleans-based company. So, again, buy 5 pouches or more. Use code RG, 25% off. That's code RG, 25% off. 5 pouches or more, primeshrimp.com.
Speaking of John Edwards, we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. You can do what I've been doing. That's talking to John about, hey, this is kind of what we're thinking about. This is sort of the parameters, how many days, nights. Most importantly, here's kind of a budget, and what could we do? And what he's done, we've been at this for a little over a month now. I've given him those parameters. I've given him a budget. He's given me a couple of pretty detailed options so far. It's been stuff I really would not have been able to do on my own. Honestly, I would have abandoned ship by now on my own. But you can get in touch with John, do what I've done. It's 901-494-3387. J. Edwards at regencytravel.net. Tell him that you heard about him on the podcast, and you'll get $50 off your first booked trip. Oxford's newest Greek restaurant on the square, Opa, is the perfect place to plan your festive party event, your company dinner, your Christmas party. Fabulous food, great craft libations as well. They can accommodate up to 200 guests at Opa. For catering or booking information, contact Jeannie, 601-421-7147. We're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. They've been connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. If you're on the job hunt, whether you're seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they have opportunities across the board, whether you're in IT, engineering, dentistry, accounting, law, manufacturing, human resources, or anything else, really. They've got opportunities. They just are going to get to know you. They're going to find out what you're looking for in your next career move, help you find the right fit. It's always free for the candidate. So give them a call, 601-573-9242 or servicespecialistltd.com. Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. So schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com.
Speaking of, you mentioned the NBA for a second. I saw this morning that it's the first NBA Finals without a former MVP in the series since 1990.
Oh, wow.
And only the third time it's ever happened.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So, team a little bit.
Yeah.
To whatever degree you want.
Well, Celtics have built a team that analytically has been elite all year. And here they are, a win away. And Dallas winning a blowout win in a series is just something that Dallas does in series. So until Dallas wins tonight, if Dallas wins tonight, it's
they win
like,
tonight and suddenly it gets real.
Yeah, game 4 was like whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, tonight's the night. If you're Dallas and you seriously want this thing to be serious, you
got to get tonight.
Yeah, because otherwise you're done.
It's over.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I think 7:30 start time for that, and then Florida up 3-1 on Edmonton in the NHL Finals as well. Another Game 4 blowout. Edmonton won 8-1, and in Game 4 in Edmonton to salvage
to stop a sweep.
Yeah. So now back to Florida.
Yeah, I had a friend text me on Friday morning with Celtics Mavericks. What do you think? And it was like, well, look, Boston's clearly the better squad, but you won't be surprised if Dallas at home rallies the troops and goes, let's play for pride one night.
Yeah. Don't get run out of this thing.
And then, they play their ass off, get hot. And
here you go.
Next thing you know, it's a dunkathon.
Yeah.
And Boston goes, to hell with it. We'll see.
We'll deal with it in Game 5. Yeah.
Because that's the night that, frankly, a lot of Boston fans are probably like, you know what, I'd never want my team to lose, but I wouldn't mind if they lost tonight because I want to see them win it in person.
We haven't had a game where the ball has come down in the last 30 seconds with it in doubt. We've had a blowout, and you've had a 3-run lead for a 3-game lead. For it to be Boston and Dallas, it has not resonated at all.
No.
Can't be what you hope for out of the NBA. It just hasn't hit.
I mean, look, I'm as big an NBA guy as you're going to find around here, and I've hardly watched it. I've watched 5 minutes of the whole series.
And then on the other side, and again, I'm a junkie, college baseball has become a better TV product, just compared to itself. I don't mean basketball. College World Series has been really fun. I think it has paid off having 8 teams that everybody knows with SEC, ACC.
Yeah.
The SEC currently 3-0 against the ACC. Close games. I mean,
what did Tennessee do last night?
They hammered North Carolina. They won 6-1, and it was never even in doubt. They hit 3 or 4 home runs. Just ran the ball out of there. Beam pitched well into the 6th.
Yeah, I saw. I guess I saw like the 4th and 5th innings. I saw someone hit a home run, and Beam got out of trouble one time.
Tennessee is really good. And then they got very fortunate and lucky against Florida State.
Yeah.
He swung. He went around. It was a swing. There's no doubt about that. I'm also not at all surprised that the umpire on appeal did not ring him up right there.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
No.
Ending the game on a 50-50 in real time watching check swing. Because to Burke's credit, it was Blake Burke, right?
I think so.
To Burke's credit, he didn't break his wrist. Now, that's not the rule. I don't mean it as in he didn't go. He went. But if you're the umpire on appeal in real time, you don't get to slow it down and see what he was doing and where the bat is.
Decision.
You've got certain cues that you're looking for, and I don't think he met those cues, even though he did swing.
Yeah.
So it's complicated. Now,
you don't think that was being paid by Tennessee?
Look,
I'm being facetious.
Well, no, my joke of it the other night, because at the moment I was like, you know what I do? I immediately went to my boy Wes's Twitter account, wanted to see what he's saying, whatever. And to his credit, to his credit,
wow,
he said for 12 hours he swung. It was a swing. You got lucky. You took advantage of it. Kudos. You get breaks. It happens. But he swung. They want to run his ass out of there. No, Mr. Burke would never swing. We never get breaks. He simply did. I hate that fan base.
I do too.
But they are a damn good baseball team.
They are really
and they
good.
took advantage. That's my point. There's 2 things that happened. One in each game where I thought this might just be.
Oh, what a goal! Sorry,
you're fine. This might just be their year, and we finally get the number 1 seed that wins. It hasn't happened since '99. All that stuff, because against Florida State, they literally lost. I hate something. I hate when somebody goes, hey, I know he swung, but you should have just won the game anyway. You're right. I get it. Florida State bullpen blew it. But you don't have to win by 5 runs. You have to win. If there's a call that literally would have ended the game that went against you, then you got screwed by definition. Like, that would be like you going, hey, well, you won by 1, but really, if you don't win by 4, you didn't really win. Because if you wanted to really win, you just blew them out. Like, I hate that argument.
You know what I'm about to say. To win a championship, One of the things that you absolutely have to have is some luck. They were fortuitous. They took advantage of it. Sometimes you just have to have some luck.
Yes.
Oregon State won a national championship because another team dropped a foul ball. They didn't win it in that, but they ended up winning. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sports requires luck.
So Tennessee gets that, and then they start bashing, and offensively they're damn good.
Right.
Christian Moore's a beast. I mean,
he is.
Good.
He's very,
God.
very good.
And then last night, the one time that North Carolina kind of had a little bit of momentum and stuff kind of coming for a second, they get the leadoff runner up. They get either I think Honeycutt came up or either Honeycutt got on. I don't remember. And the next guy hits into a double play. It's a race. Tennessee gets out of it, and then Parks Harbor comes up and hits a 111-mile-an-hour line drive right in an infielder. And it's the third out. And you had one on, you had your guy up, and then you get a 111-mile-an-hour hit off the bat, and it's an out.
Yeah.
Just happens. Baseball, and that happened. I went Tennessee's winning the title. Like, it's
Sports.
just
Sports.
This is the week that you're the best team and you're getting these breaks. Good luck.
Yeah. Might just be destiny.
Now, Florida State's good. They're good enough to compete with them.
Sure.
But tall order now. Tall order. Florida State put Virginia out, so now Florida State plays North Carolina to get back to Tennessee. Texas A&M and Kentucky are in a winner's bracket game today. North Carolina State and Florida in a loser's bracket game today as well. The Gators losing 3-2 to the Aggies late 2 nights ago. The game started at 10:15 p.m.
So the Tennessee-Kentucky final series would be
fun.
It'd be fun. I'd be curious to see what kind of ratings it gets. But these days, I don't know what gets ratings. There's so much on television.
Yeah. And North Carolina's good. I mean, they just got beat by Tennessee last night, but they're good. It's been a fun World Series. It's been good.
Typically don't make it to Omaha unless you're good and hot. It's just the way it is. I mean,
you have to win tournaments to get there.
And somebody's got to be the first one out. And everybody goes, well, they suck. No, they don't suck. They made it to Omaha. They won a
Virginia
regional.
Was good.
They won a super regional. But at some point, people have to lose.
Yeah.
The way sports are.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I struggle with hot take stuff. It's all I can do sometimes, like, just to go. I've gotten much better about it, though. I'm
again using quotes. Who do you want to win?
I don't know. I watched Kentucky so much this year that it might be kind of fun for me to watch them win it. I catch myself cheering for Tennessee. I don't mean to.
I did want them to beat Florida State the other night. For whatever reason, I was kind of watching and went, "Hey, hit the ball in the gap here. Let's see this."
I normally wouldn't have stayed watching the game, but I kept watching it, and as they came back, I was like, "This is fun."
It was fun.
Good for them. I don't dislike Vitello. He doesn't bother me.
Apparently, the people that play, he's insanely loyal. Like, his people love him.
Yeah,
I think he's the best coach in the country.
He's really good. Their team's really good. I like the way they play baseball. I don't mind all the stuff because everybody does the stuff.
Yeah, Florida can hit their way a little bit, but they don't have the pitching to get back through this thing, I don't think.
Be tough.
They had to beat A&M in game 1.
Yeah.
And they lose 3-2. I mean,
apparently it was a hell of a game, but
it
started too late for my blood.
They got robbed in the 9th. I mean, like, it was a damn good game.
Yeah, the ball was getting out, right?
Yeah. I didn't stay up for it. I went to bed in like the 4th or 5th. I was like, I don't care. If you're in Omaha in your first game, wear your own damn colors. A&M, you're not America's team. Quit wearing your red and blue in the first game in Omaha. Good God. Adidas screwed it up anyway.
I'm watching to see if he's off. He's off.
Yeah, he is. I don't know.
Sorry, Ginger. I don't try to. I'm not going into it going, hey, go Vols. I just, as it happened, I kind of caught myself hoping they won. I mean, had they not won, I would have lost like one gazillionth of a.
You weren't going to have to go take NyQuil all of a sudden to go to sleep. But
no, I was going to be fine. But I don't know. I mean, look.
And I find myself with a soft spot for NC State because of what happened in 21. I know it's not the same players at this point, but
they save lives.
I felt
they did what they had to do.
And honestly, their body language was not very good against Kentucky the other day. They just sort of, I don't know, they did not look right to me out there. Kentucky comes back, scores 1 in the 9th, and walks it off in the 10th, I think.
Yeah, that's what they do. They're pretty relentless if you watch them all season. Kentucky's that team that 4 or 5 innings in a row, you'll think they just got nothing, and then all of a sudden they got something.
Because they stress you constantly.
Their at-bats are really good. They're good. They're a mature team, like to your point. They're old and very, very resilient. They're tough. So I don't know. I hope an SEC team wins because I like some of the national people getting bothered with the SEC winning year after year after year.
Ole Miss football announced their June incoming players, by the way, this morning. So if you want to see that, I'll post it on the board. But I'm not recognizing any surprises in it, but just heads up on that as I scan the list. Those 21 names put out this morning. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's enrollees out of high school too, so it's like William Eccles and a bunch of those guys as well. It's not simply.
I saw William on Friday.
Did you?
He's a big kid.
Fast riser, kind of came out of nowhere and really blew up.
He's a big kid.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark NESPORC. Service people across rural communities. 2 packages: the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze. Their fastest option available. It is their 1 gig option. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, phone controls, network security, wireless mesh extender for those who need the extra help, and more. 662-238-3159.
Are you a displaced corporate executive wanting to put your career in your own hands? Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? Either way, Andy Ludicky can help. He owns multiple franchises and businesses and uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy, put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. MyPerfectFranchise.net. Andy at MyPerfectFranchise.net or 404-973-9901. Southern Traditions Farm is a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails, so much offered at Southern Traditions, including horseback riding offerings from beginner lessons to advanced to being able to compete at nationally recognized competitions. It's also a fantastic venue for events, corporate outings, things of that nature. So get in touch with them on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm. I'll have a mailbag to you on Wednesday. It's presented by Art Hayes, Sotheby's International Realty. Are you thinking of making a move? Put the power of Sotheby's to work for you. As a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss, Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world at no charge to you. Seriously. So call and ask Art how. 612-805-5929 or email Art at arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com.
So you watched a couple of the last holes of golf on Sunday?
Yeah, I guess I turned it on. They were like on the 15th, the leaders. I wasn't unintent. I'd seen little parts of it over the course of the week and then weekend, I should say. And then I turned it on yesterday coming down the stretch and I watched.
Your former Red Raider fell off a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Kind of folded in the middle holes.
He's hurt. We'll get it together.
Regroup.
We'll get back.
Got the Open Championship coming up. Well,
he's gonna do well. The McElroy thing was.
It's great theater.
So I'm not, as you guys know, I'm not a golf guy. So turning on the golf, and I think Laura looked at me like, "What in the hell are you doing?" Right? Because she's kind of stunned, and I'm like, she doesn't like McElroy. If you follow the news,
for his personal decisions,
she doesn't like him.
He's back with his wife.
Yeah. For financial reasons.
You haven't seen that. You do not know that to be true.
That's the rumor to be true.
Do not know that to be true.
I don't know it to be true. Regardless. DeChambeau, I don't follow golf the way you guys do.
You knew no backstory.
I didn't. I knew that everybody didn't like this guy. That's what, as I was watching it happen, I'm like, everybody doesn't like this guy. And I'm watching it, and I'm kind of like, why? He seems perfectly good. Like, he was being nice to the crowd, and he gets over in trouble, and it takes forever, and his swing keeps hitting the tree, and he's like, what am I going to do? And then he gets out, hit too far, and it goes into the bunker, and now you're like, oh wow, this guy's in trouble. And then he takes his moment, and then hits the shot of his life up onto the green, and he still because it's his turn to go. Even though the crowd's like, no, we want the other guy to putt out, he's like, shh, stop. And then even after he won, he stopped celebrating for a minute because his guy had to make a putt. And like when the difference between 4th and 5th place is a lot of money. And so he's like, hey, everybody calm down. And immediately everybody calms down. I'm like, why do we hate this guy?
No, we don't now.
He seems perfectly likable.
We don't now. It's frankly been, there was so much to yesterday. If you're a golf guy, we're into the culture of golf. Like, I don't know if in 2024 in a round that doesn't include Tiger, you can get anything better than what yesterday was. You get a really fun course that the pros are having a hard time with. I mean, just brutally difficult. A little gimmicky in spots, in my opinions. I'm going to get pitchforked by some golf purists. I think it's a little gimmicky in spots, but a great course to have the tournament on. And then you get this Rory Bryson final duel, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's PGA Tour versus LIV. It's
because
Rory.
DeChambeau's a LIV guy, right?
He's a LIV guy. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a LIV guy. You've got, because he was wearing his Crushers uniform. He wasn't even wearing he was still wearing LIV gear.
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool.
It was his team.
Okay.
So Rory, probably worldwide the most popular player on earth other than Tiger Woods,
okay.
I would assume, including in America. Incredibly popular. Rory is dealing with the scar tissue of haven't won a major in 10 years. And if you look at his results, he's dotted all over top 10s and leaderboard, but hasn't won one. Him trying to get it done. He bogeys 3 of the last 4 holes, including missing 2 putts inside 4 feet. The first one was inside 3 feet.
It was 2 feet 5 inches.
9 inches.
9 inches.
Rory putts fewer than 3 feet this season. Before that,
4 inches matter.
It does. 493 of 493, or 496 of 496.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he misses 2 of them in the last 4. He frankly topped the one on 18. They showed a very bottom view.
Yeah, hit the bottom of the ball.
It literally his putter came up. He was whatever you want to
because
call
I
it.
asked somebody when that happened, I said, is that what he meant to do? Is that
No,
because
no.
I don't.
Yeah, and it would push it right. It would push it right. So he does this. He's falling apart. There's video of him essentially leaving within 15 minutes, not doing all of his normal obligations that especially the face of the PGA Tour would do following the U.S. Open.
Yep.
Kind of skidded tires out of the parking lot. I don't think he meant to, but it's what happened.
He will regret that.
He bails out, gets out of there. And then Bryson, for the non-golf people, Bryson DeChambeau, great amateur, came up. Everybody was aware of him. Puts on all this weight to go distance. He famously called Augusta a par 68, I think, because he was just planning to birdie every par 5 and badger the course with science and strength and all this. And he was a tryhard. Like, he was hard to like. He was uncomfortable in his own skin, I think. I think he didn't really know how to handle people. He's frankly rude to people kind of openly at times. Mm-hmm. It just was a very difficult person to like for the golf fan. The transformation that he's done in the last year is, in a sports pop culture concept, remarkable. He's got a YouTube channel that he puts up videos every week. They get 1 million views plus. They're really good. I mean, for a golf fan or just somebody that likes his personality, they're very, very good. He makes fun of himself. He teaches. I think Kyle Porter, who covers golf for CBS Sports, he mentioned this. Back in the day, golf was barnstorming and kind of, it was kind of showman-like.
Mm-hmm.
He's the new version of that. Like, he's kind of everywhere. He's gotten comfortable in his own skin. He's had to deal with some personal loss. His dad died.
Yeah.
That has grounded him in a lot of ways. He's sort of figured out who he is.
So you're saying someone in his 20s grew up
yeah,
a little bit?
He did. He's become... I was for Rory yesterday because I've always just kind of been for Rory. But I found myself at the end going, no, if DeChambeau wins, I feel better almost. Like, he made me a little happier. Like, for what, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I just went. And then he last night, by the way, bunker shot for non-golfers. That was an incredible shot to hit that ball.
Did you see the TV dude that?
Yeah, Johnson Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was going with that is there's so many parts of this. He's yeah. I mean, I really laughed because Bryson, when he was up under the tree in the roots and the waist area over there, he looked at this cat and goes, "I really don't feel comfortable with this." It's like, yeah, no kidding, Bryson. You're under a tree with a root and all kind of stuff and whatever. And as much as I kind of wanted him to not get up and down out of the bunker because I wanted a playoff, I wanted to see him and Rory go head to head for a couple of holes here, and let's do this. Now the U.S. Open no longer does the next day 18-hole playoff. They used to do that.
Yeah.
But now it's like 2 holes and then sudden death after 2 holes. But he hits a hell of a shot. And then I thought about this, and look, he was basking in the moment, the win. He has 2 U.S. Opens now, all this stuff.
Sure.
He didn't want to leave. And I thought it was really interesting. He just hung out at the club forever last night. He signed everything anybody wanted to sign. He took every picture in the world. Yeah, what you're alluding to, and if you want to just kind of have a pretty cool feel-good moment, because it was organic, it wasn't staged, the Golf Channel was showing that bunker shot and talking about it. And Johnson Wagner, who's a PGA Tour player, former player, whatever he is now, has become a really good media member in this kind of player turn commentator thing. And he's talking about the bunker shot and hits it, and he blades the first one almost into the clubhouse, doesn't hit it well at all. And DeChambeau just shows up and kind of coaches him through it. They talk about what he did, and then he hits one to like 2 feet.
Yeah, it went even better.
Yeah, it was better than DeChambeau. It was on his second turn. But what struck me about that was Bryson was just hanging out. It's hours after, and he didn't want to go anywhere. And I don't know if I felt I'm not saying he didn't have family. Like I'm not making that a negative, but I just kind of thought, would that be the case for anybody else?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't think so.
His walk and talk with Taylor Zarzer was really, really good.
Was it?
Yeah. Taylor's phenomenal at his golf stuff. He's phenomenal in general, but his golf stuff is great.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. He was mentally weak for a long time. He was searching and just mentally weak and couldn't have much.
He was young.
Yeah. And he's found himself.
That's like some of the criticism of Caitlin Clark this last weekend, other than it being total bullshit, completely doesn't take into account that she's 22 years old. I'm sorry, but you're 22 years old and you're trying to adjust to you're playing professional for the first time, and you're on a new team, and you're probably a little tired and everything else, and people want you to be a social justice warrior at the same time. It's a little much.
You know, 2 things. One, DeChambeau turned 30. He's 30 years old now.
Okay.
And we can talk about this tomorrow. It's actually a good topic, and won't have a full hour and a half on football and other things. This Caitlin Clark thing, Angel Reese thing, and it's only a month old. They've got to be really careful to not let this completely become non-basketball.
I know.
It is, and I mean all sides. I'm not even talking about one side here.
It's not her.
She has become...
It's everyone around her. She's the one that's trying to go, I'm just trying to play basketball.
She's become a talisman for both sides at this point.
It's crazy.
It's going to run the risk of no one caring because it's become too divisive away from basketball.
Well, I'm going to tell you where it's turning me off is if this were the NBA and you were attacking somebody's rookie, that rookie's teammates would stand up. But that league is so bizarre that no one will defend her on her own team. If I'm her, I'm like, you know what? I'm about to check out of this, go to Europe, make some money, and y'all can all kiss
because
my
frankly,
ass.
I thought they got everything right yesterday. I wasn't even up in arms about anything that happened on the floor yesterday, and yet news networks were leading with it. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. No, they want... Look,
this has gotten stupid.
The media wants this to be something.
Yeah, and it's just not on the floor.
And maybe it's because the media that covers that league is as
and frankly, I'm going to defend Angel Reese here, is from the standpoint of if this was a man who was kind of seen as a little bit of a villain, we wouldn't be making it this personal attack that you're a terrible human being.
Right.
You would be theater. Oh, well, let's see. Draymond Green is maybe the way worse than Angel Reese, but like out on that side. And we don't go, oh, my God, he must go abuse puppies at night when he goes home.
No, it's a good point.
We're not used to this happening in women's sports, is the truth.
Yeah. I'm just telling you
we don't understand
the part that turns me off, and I've heard other people say this, is where are her teammates? Because in the NBA, the rookie first-round pick would get defended by his teammates.
Oh, 100%.
You just couldn't do that. If everybody had gone after cheap shot at Chet Holmgren last year, there would have been repercussions. Nobody did that to Victor Wembanyama because the Spurs would have defended him. I don't understand it. It's bizarre to me. But this whole, hey, what do you think about your name being whatever? She's like, I'm 22 years old. I'm playing basketball. I don't know. I'm from Iowa. I didn't ask for everyone to love me as a basketball player. I just played. And the only reason she's popular is because she's white. All right, well, then I'm with Bill Maher here. Bill Maher.
Yeah.
All right, well, then explain Serena Williams. She's not white. Tiger Woods. No, sometimes people just inspire people. Look at all the people. Golf grew because of Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
People loved Tiger Woods. It was appointment television to watch Tiger Woods. Serena Williams. I don't know if you've noticed, but women's tennis wasn't very big in the years before her, and it's not very big now. But it was big then. People liked her. No, they loved her. They loved to watch her. And for whatever reason or reasons, Caitlin Clark is sort of that same kind of person, and women's basketball is about to ruin it.
They need it to, frankly, they need her popularity to decrease a little bit, where the people that don't give two shits about the sport or basketball or that it's whatever, they just want to show the other side in the argument, go away. Like, I think that's actually their problem right now.
Maybe so.
And
I think she's being treated incredibly unfairly. I really do.
And it overshadowed what was her best game as a pro, and she's growing some really good chemistry with Aaliyah Boston and some of her teammates. Like, it's what you looked up and went, hey, she doesn't need to go to the Olympics, and they practice and kind of worked it like that. That's a rising team a little bit. Like, you see some pieces, they're going to get another draft pick. Like, you kind of go,
she's a rookie.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, Angel Reese isn't lighting the league on fire.
She's playing well. Had double doubles.
Well.
Like, yeah. She is impacting.
She's still growing as a player.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, we're completely ignoring what they've actually done on the floor, which is interesting. I don't know, but yeah, probably a little more on that tomorrow. Start getting into some football content, football previews as the days and weeks move on. As again, it'll be the end of June before we know it, in July and on from there. So rebelgrove.com. Neal's mentioned several things about 10 thoughts. Got more coming up, and then any baseball movement that comes, we'll have that to you as well. So have a good day. Good luck. We'll talk to you tomorrow.